Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Force for Growth Live. It's Wednesday morning. What is going on Wednesday, Courtney?
It's hump day, you guys. And it's a big one because it's one of the final hump days of the year. So you better make it count. So, brownie points if you can knock out more than one thing today that you're putting off. So, the idea of hump day is hump over your hurdle, hashtag hump over your hurdle. So, whatever you are struggling with, whatever's holding you back, whatever excuse you need to abolish, get it out of the way. And if you're stuck, if you're struggling, let us know with what, and we will do our best to help you move past
No,
that in the next few minutes.
no more excuses.
Mm-mm.
Extinguish, eliminate the excuses. Excuses. Do not elaborate them.
Yes.
Extinguish and eliminate. Do not elaborate.
Yes. It ends here.
Mic drop. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Just kidding. We're just getting started.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
What are we talking about today, Courtney?
We are talking about enchantment, one of my favorite words. So that childlike wonder, that ability we possess as humans. I'm going to go out there and call it an ability because we all have the ability to use it. It's just, are we?
Ooh, this is a good topic because the holidays are right around the corner. The kiddos are making their Christmas list. They're checking it twice.
Yes.
All that kind of good stuff. They're dreaming big. They're dreaming and asking for things beyond the realm of possibility. And that's what we want to promote.
Yes. Yeah. Just think like whenever, okay, so maybe you have a tradition of reading 'Twas the Night Before Christmas with your kids that night before. That look in their eye on Christmas Eve, that's enchantment. That, when we were kids and we built a fort, that was a castle. It was not a fort in our brain. That was a shiny, sparkly castle that had everything we could dream of in it, And so we lose these skills over time. I don't know if we tell ourselves like, oh, I'm not a kid anymore. I need to grow up, all these things. And I just kind of want to run in and be like, stop, don't grow up. Like, don't completely grow up. Like, yes, do keep growing and things like that. But there are these core skills that you need to hang on to. And the secret is you're actually using the same muscles. You're using, and you almost probably to perfection are a master at using these muscles. You're just doing it in the opposite direction. And what I say by that is, do you obsess over your problems and make them bigger than they truly are? Well, that's the exact same thing as enchantment. You're thinking a thought, adding a feeling or energy to it, whether it's positive or negative. And so that's what I want this conversation to be about, is how do we flip it? How do we remind our 40, 50, 9-year-old self that we are still a kid inside? Okay, so I'm a Trinity energy practitioner, and Trinity is actually, it's not a Christianity reference, although I am a Christian as well, but it's the masculine, the feminine, and the inner child. And so just to illustrate, there are 3 parts of our soul, if you will. There are 3 parts of us. And if you're not feeding the child inside, it's not giving you what you want. Let me back up a second. Conditioning has ruled your life up until now. So we're here to remind you that you can change it, that you can flip it, that whatever you're after can be easier than it is right now. You just need to feed the right angle. You need to feed the enchantment. Don't obsess over the problems, because you can make anything bigger and brighter and bolder that you want. So what are you marinating on? What are you thinking on? And so for me, if you add the childlike wonder, if you add that genuine, innocent excitement about a project, it accelerates it, it fuels it, it gives you energy to wake up tomorrow and still be excited about it, when today was really hard. So that's what it means to me. And that's also why it's a really big deal to me. So I'm going to throw it back to Ricardo.
So I totally agree. I think it's very important because just like you said, we can harp on the bad. We can harp on the negative. We can make the negative and disempowering thoughts bigger and brighter and bolder in our head. However, when it comes to childlike wonder, we talk ourselves out of it. Like, oh, I really shouldn't think like that. Oh, I really shouldn't imagine that because that's beyond the realm of possibility, or whatever your favorite negative affirmation is right there.
Yeah.
But we talk ourselves out of it for whatever reason. And then When we see others playful out, we even tend to judge them.
Mhm.
Like why are they thinking like that? Like they shouldn't be doing that.
Or the opposite, they're just lucky. They're just lucky,
Oh,
as if
yeah,
it was something that was outside of that person's power.
correct. So there's a lot of stuff going on there, but I think the big thing is that don't talk yourself out of imagining big. Don't talk yourself out of playing big. Don't talk yourself out of playing full out. Just go with it. And I think one of the biggest things is like, ooh, what if someone sees me? Like, what if someone sees me the the swing set at the playground? What if someone sees me?
Wave at them and
Yeah.
smile. That's
What
what you
what
do.
what if someone sees me like going down the slide? Like I shouldn't be doing this. I'm too sophisticated and too trim and too proper that I drink tea with my pinky sticking out. So therefore I can't go on the swing set and I can't go on the slide and I can't do this and I can't, or more importantly, I shouldn't
Yeah.
because of who I think I am.
hmm Yeah.
Right.
I'm all for jump in the puddle. Like maybe not right before a big meeting where you need to go in somewhere, but I mean, life presents moments for you to metaphorically jump in the puddle and make a splash and laugh at it and be like, that was fun. And then keep going. It's these strings it's like we're a puppet tied to something with all these strings as to why we won't do this or why we won't do that. And what you don't realize is your conditioning as to why you won't do whatever is controlling your life. It's literally the puppet master of your life. And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. It's wasted energy.
You know what? Instead of asking yourself, why should I? Why not? Instead of trying to figure out why I should go have some fun and imagine and think big, why don't you answer yourself, well, why not? Why don't I?
Yeah.
That answer might actually come easier than the why.
Mhm.
And that's
And it's a
okay.
pattern breaker.
It is. So let me ask you, Courtney, when's the last time you believed in Santa Claus? Do you remember believing in Santa Claus?
I still believe in Santa Claus. Okay, I have a different. I still won't give up my belief. Let me phrase it that way. Yes, I know the facts around Santa, but back it up. There is a character like Santa out there. There's probably thousands or millions of them. And what I mean is people who see the world and see it as an opportunity to help more, to give more, to love more. And so there are people like that all over. To me, so take out the black or white part of it. Reminder that there's gray area because these are meanings you've added to it. So yes, if you think Santa is a magical fairy, one human that comes and, travels trillions of miles in one night and to feed or to bring presents, I mean, that's awesome. But I kind of lighten that, but I don't give up the belief in that there are millions of Santas out there. I want to be like one day. I want to be one now, So it's kind of like I was a nanny and we were standing in line at a bank and I think Sam was 3 at the time. He's adorable. They live in London now. And we were standing in the bank and a guy with like a baseball jersey, a really shiny jersey, was right in front of us. And Sam's like pulling him. He's like, and he used to call me Courtney with an F. And he's like, Courtney, is that a superhero? And so I remember this kiddo's dad was very realistic, very matter of fact, and his mom's just like me. And so I struggled where I could have been like, oh no, he's wearing, and I was like, he could be. Yeah, he could be someone's superhero. I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe it's just a jersey of his favorite superhero. You never know. But I made sure not to answer that question to where it told that child, no, that guy's not a superhero. I do not want to kill that imagination. I want to feed it, but I want it to fuse into reality. As he gets older, I don't want him to give up the belief 100%. I want him to add realistic life to it. How can I bring this into my adult life too? You don't have to give it up. So that's where I say I still believe in Santa because, I mean, are fairies real? It's all up to your belief, so there's so many things that, trust me, I can get on the woo-woo topic on that too, but you really have to decide why you believe what you believe. Do you want to believe it? Why not do that thing? And the hesitation and the second guessing yourself is holding the key as to why you're conditioned the way you are. Maybe that's too bold of a statement, but for me, it's true.
I remember waking up Christmas morning when I was little and wondering how all this stuff got under the tree. Like, it was just like, "Ooh, where did this stuff come from? Ooh, how did this stuff get here? And it's wrapped, and it's what I wanted, and all this other stuff." And I don't remember when I stopped believing. It just kind of happened. It's like, "Oh, okay, we figured it out." And that's
Mhm.
kind of sad now that I think about it, and I'm talking about it out loud. That's actually kind of sad that I lost a little bit of that childlike wonder and that big imagination.
How could we butterfly effect that? How could we go back to, so maybe you don't remember when you had the realization, but at least what age you remember going into Christmas knowing somebody else was involved in putting presents under the tree. What could you change about your perspective then that would dissipate those feelings now?
That's interesting because I don't remember the tipping point. Obviously, there was a tipping point to where I learned and figured out, or someone told me that it was not real, right? There was obviously a tipping point there somewhere, and I don't remember exactly when. I just remember knowing that there was magic involved and then knowing that there isn't.
Okay, let's go a step further. So define magic in the way you were looking at it then, and define magic to how you might, what meaning you might give now.
Well, obviously, the magic was there was nothing under the tree the night before, and then the next morning there was all sorts of stuff there.
Yeah.
like, like what's more magical than that,
Yeah.
right? Like, what's more magical than a tree with nothing under it, and then not being able to sleep the night before, waking up, running to the tree, and then all this stuff being under there?
Mhm.
Wow,
And like
that's
even how you
magical.
remember it, it just like there's glitter in the memories of those mornings, you know?
There
Like
is.
it's just it's such a profound memory of ours, but you don't have to give it up. Like you can shift the meaning of magic. You don't have to say magic doesn't exist. And anyway, this is can go many areas, but more so I just want to bring it back home to that somebody setting that out for a child to see and making it happen and working for months maybe to come up with that income to buy those gifts, to find that special thing you wanted, that's magic. It's
You know,
love.
I think one of the things that happened to kind of get me to realize what the reality was one year we had to go to the Salvation Army to pick up presents
Mm.
because they were doing a toy giveaway, and my mom didn't have money to buy me presents. And we went to the Salvation Army because they were doing like a toy drive slash handout. And I didn't understand why we were there. But even then, my mom was still like, well, Santa's still coming. Well, for the Mexican culture, it's not necessarily Santa. I didn't know about Santa Claus until we came to the United States. But in the Mexican culture, it's the three kings that come and deliver the toys and the gifts.
Mm.
But she would tell me the three kings are still coming. And then obviously just by being around other kids, they talked about Santa and not the three kings. So then I started to question about Santa and ask about Santa, right? And the three kings thing just kind of fell to the side, right? Um, but yeah, she would still tell me that there were still going to be some deliveries, and there were still little deliveries, but not as much as it was. But I think that was, if I remember now that I'm thinking about it, that was like the first hint of, ah, there's something going on here.
Mm-hmm. Which you could have added a meaning that you held on to, like, oh, mom lied to me all this time, you know? And that clearly was not what was going on or the intent behind any of it, you know?
No,
And so it's just, you just infuse it with a different perspective. If you do have a memory like that, or if you, and remind yourself that magic was there, like love was there. Replace the word with love. It was there. And, you know, anything can be created from love, anything can be overcome from love. And that is a beautiful thing about the holidays and giving. And I mean, it's just very moving stuff like y'all are doing with the, you know, basket Santa, but it's you are that superhero to somebody. You are. And that doesn't mean superheroes aren't real because they can't fly, So that's where I just live in this in-between world. But it's much more rich. It's much more fulfilling because I know I'm co-creating. So I won't give up that belief because it makes me happy. And I take note of that and I take inventory.
Yes. Real quick, let's go to the comments. Ryan says, it's a surprise factor for me in the world where having the answer is rewarded a lot. It's when those surprise moments and surprise answers / solutions come where my heart just really responds to that wonder.
Mm-hmm.
We are expected to have the answers. We want to always figure it out. That's a thing now, isn't it? Let's figure it out. Let's figure it out. How does that work? How did that magician do that trick? How did they do that? How did they create that? How did that happen? How did they trick us? We're always trying to figure it out.
Yeah. And once you figure out how a machine works or how a magic trick is done, it loses its magic. So it's okay to figure things out, but how you talk to yourself and how you obsess over what you want, not your problems, and these daily actions and rituals in your brain will add up to that or not. And it's just, I don't know. I look at society and I think, well, somebody's going through their life thinking that this mundane, dull world, like there's magic all around you. Are you kidding me? Like I could step into your life and find 100 things to be grateful right now, but you're telling me you can't find one? Like I challenge that. I challenge you on that. You need to take a step back and sit down.
Yeah, because if you're in true enchantment and childlike wonder, you'll make shit up just to make yourself right.
You'll embellish.
You will embellish. And in this case, that's a good thing. Let's see here. Ryan says, y'all asked about where those barriers are for growth. Mine are most common when I'm in the room with the systems and results driven people. I just totally take myself out of the conversation. Sad face. Here's the thing, Ryan. Let me tell you, bro.
So that's it. Here we go.
Here we go. I feel it coming. Here's the thing. I think about my son, 7 years old. Depending on the mood he's in, obviously, sometimes he'll be in moods where he'll go up to a total new crowd of total strangers and just be like, hey guys, I'm Sebastian. Go watch my YouTube channel. No shame, no nothing. Shameless promoter. That's what my son is at times. And then there's other times where he does take himself out of the conversation because maybe he feels a little bit shy that day. Maybe he woke up, maybe he didn't sleep so well. Maybe something happened. But for the most part, he's like in your face. Like if he meets you in person, Ryan, he'll be like, hey, I'll be like, hey, this is my friend Ryan. And Sebastian will be like, hey, go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Like he does. He's like
on basket day, I was doing a live video and Sebastian comes by with pushing a cart of baskets. And I was like, hey, Sebastian, wave. He was like, I'm busy. I'm pushing a cart. But he pushed that cart for hours, right? So it just cracked me up because he's blunt. He's not scared to be him. Whatever he's doing in the moment, he's doing something. He can't wave at me. He's got work to do, like, yeah.
And instead of taking yourself out of the conversation, drive the conversation, join the conversation, add value to the conversation. Think of yourself as like a spice, salt, pepper, or a fancy one like oregano or some other fancy spice that I don't know the names of. And the conversation is just this big old juicy pork chop, but you know what? It's just a little bland. Just a little bland. And your spice that you can add to the conversation is what's going to make this recipe over the top.
Yeah.
Over the top.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So don't be scared.
Yeah. Nobody can recreate you. So you got to stop spinning your wheels trying to be like everyone else or fit yourself into a box. You're limiting yourself. You're fitting yourself.
You are limiting yourself. And the minute that you think of yourself that, oh, these are systems and what was the word that you used?
Programs.
Systems and results-driven people. The minute that you see them as systems and results driven people, you've already lost in your head. The minute you see them as systems and results driven people and think that you're not that or that you can't add value to that, you've already lost. You're done.
Yeah.
So don't even allow that thought to come into your head. How about they're just people?
What can I learn from this fellow human? Or what could I share with this fellow human? That's it. That takes the pressure off versus, oh, this person does this and I want to work with them. Stop.
Yes.
Childlike curiosity. Childlike curiosity is not linked to outcomes and incomes and things like that. No. It's just linked to, hey, I'm curious. Let me ask you a question.
Correct.
Just because you're curious. Or maybe if you are about to walk in, like 3 people stand around, what is something you authentically are curious about these 3 people, one about each, and then be ready with a quick question for each of them if the conversation goes a little quiet. And the key on that to really drive home is, what's the difference between somebody being asked a question you've rehearsed and just thought it was what they wanted to hear versus an authentic, curious, childlike, wondering question? They're going to respond to the authentic one. They're going to be intrigued by the authentic one, and subconsciously they won't know why.
That's so good. Yes. Childlike wonder. Approach the conversations with childlike wonder instead of, oh, they're systems and results driven people. And so now I'm just gonna kind of sit in the corner and make myself really small and maybe even cry a little bit because I can't hang with these people. Nah, man. No.
Yeah.
No. F that. No, dude. Get in there with childlike wonder and figure out what's going on and ask them questions and be curious, sincerely and genuinely, and join and add your spice to the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So something I just realized. So I wanted to talk about how Sean Murphy teaches his people how to introduce people. So if you can go back and find and comment on Sean Murphy's comment, we'll find a gift for you, or on his episode we had him. But he basically talks about how when you introduce something, a lot of people are like, hey, there's this movie, blah, 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 and it's about this. You want to go see it? Whereas if you're like, oh, there's this movie coming out that is so exciting, that is so riveting, that is so blah, 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 blah. It's called so-and-so. Do you want to go see it with me? You're going to get a yes, because it's all how you set up the introduction. So what I realized is you were talking, Ryan, or I'm sorry, in your comment, as you're setting up the introduction in your own brain, you're telling yourself, okay, so they've done this, they've done this, they've done this. And you're literally listing logical reasons as to why you don't fit in the same category with them. So when you arrive in the conversation, whether you had talk points or not, it's going to feel awkward and out of place. And then you're going to start second guessing yourself. Whereas if you preface this like, oh, hey, there's a cool, whatever, I don't know, walking up to the conversation, but you have that, you frame it in your mind as something riveting, as something exciting, as something like, oh, I'm about to learn something new and I don't know what that is yet. And then enter the conversation, a different Ryan will show up. And I'm just using you as an example, Ryan, because every human struggles with this. But thank you for putting it out there. So a different you will show up and different conversations will be had. So back to the state you show up in. But yeah, I just realized the connection between how Sean teaches us to give a great introduction by giving, how did that thing move you first, and then say what it is. So that's what you need to do, Ryan. Does that make sense? Am I making sense, Ricardo?
It makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Approach it with childlike wonder, Ryan.
Yeah.
Excitement and childlike wonder. If you're excited about the conversation, others will be excited with you. If you're excited about being part of the conversation, guess what? They will also be excited.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
excitement's contagious. So is nervousness. So is second guessing yourself.
For everyone tuning in right now, when's the last time that you've approached something, not even a conversation, not even anything, a morning, a day, a meeting, or whatever it is, with childlike wonder? When is the last time that you've approached something with childlike wonder? Just ready for the surprises, just ready for what may happen or what may not happen, excited for the possibility of, ooh, I don't know what's going to happen. The excitement. Rhonda says, this morning. That's good, Rhonda. What about you, Courtney? When's the last time you've approached something with true, genuine, childlike wonder? Or do you just wait for Christmas?
No, I definitely don't just wait for Christmas. This is something, especially this year, I've been, it's a muscle I want to strengthen. So I'm hyper aware of it. So I will toss myself into situations that make me uncomfortable. But to be very honest, this morning, because Rhonda, next week, I'm going to lead a meditation with Sean's call. And so I reached out. I just was listening to Rob, and Rob, you were on that call too. And he led it in his amazing notes from GoPro. Thank you. Oh my gosh, I just thought another thing. But basically, yeah, I reached out to Sean Murphy, and I've never led a meditation with a group, period. So me offering to use this skill I trained on this summer that I haven't really practiced much. But yeah, I saw an in. I was nervous. So I was like, oh, you have to do it. Like, if you're nervous, there's some growth here. You need to push yourself through it. So of course, Sean Murphy is a very welcoming and loving person. And so I was like, hey, here are my honest thoughts. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm putting it out there. What do you think? And so I'll be leading a meditation next week. And I'm nervous as I say that. My heart's racing right now talking about it live. But after I've done it, then I will know if I like doing it or not, right? And can either start continuing to be consistent on that or not. Just jump. Yeah, that's been my motto all year. So 2020 has been a year of childlike wonder for me.
Childlike wonder is so important.
Yeah. And if you don't know where to start, just go to a playground. You need to swing on a swing for a while. You need to just, instead of timeout, you need some playtime. Go and think. Leave your phone in the car.
Go and think and leave your phone in the car. I think that's the key.
Yeah.
I think that's the key. And that childlike wonder it'll change your life. That curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is,
it's a playground.
The truth is, and your feelings might get hurt. We're not going to sit here and be all like, ooh, you go with childlike wonder, everything's going to be proper, perfect, and pristine. No. There's a lot of times that Sebastian, my 7-year-old mentor / teacher, he goes into life with childlike wonder, and he gets his feelings hurt, and he ends up crying.
You're going to scuff your knee. You're going to get mud on you. Like, that's still going to happen.
Most likely you will too. And I'm not saying that to be negative or pessimistic. I'm just telling you the truth. Right? Childlike wonder is a mindset, but you can't allow yourself to get discouraged, and you can't allow yourself to get discouraged from dreaming big just because that dream and you went in with childlike wonder didn't turn out exactly like you thought that it would.
Right.
Right.
And don't give up on you because something didn't turn out like you assumed it wouldn't.
Correct.
Right? That's correct. Never give up on you. But that's the pattern we see on repeat right now with society. Correct. Is this one thing didn't work that one time and I didn't do this, so I'm just not qualified to be happy.
Correct. And don't write it off. Don't be like, oh, well, I approached this with enchantment and childlike wonder, like Ricardo and Courtney said, and I got burnt, or it didn't work out, and now my feelings are hurt. Dude, dust yourself off and do it again.
Your feelings needed to be strengthened. And I say this as somebody who has been hurt a lot, who has been that sensitive person.
Oh, yeah.
If it's tough, push through it. It's a muscle that's asking to be grown. It's a skill that's asking to be polished. You just got to go, and you got to go, and you got to stop repeating that you don't like feeling bad. Because Correct. If you can get out there and really experience life and really grow the extra mile, not just go the extra mile, but grow. That's a different commitment. That's not just saying I'll wake up every day and show up. That's saying even when it's hard as you know what, I will still show up. Like that's a different commitment to yourself. And that's one that I just feel like I've hit the moment in life where I'm like, oh, I get it. I actually get it. And it's really big. And I'm never going to stop learning this lesson, just like all of us. Like, we'll never master this. This isn't going to be something that we're like, I'm perfect at that. I just never have any bad emotions. I never have bad days. So we got to just expect them, prepare for them. And let's hope they happen, further and farther in between.
Yes. Let's see here. Before we sign off, Ryan says, Ricardo, you are one of the most honest and inviting butt kickers I've ever heard share on overcoming. Oh, thank you, Ryan. Rhonda says, I love today. Y'all are speaking to my inner child. Speak to your own inner child.
Yes.
Don't just let us speak to your inner child. Go outside, take a walk, and speak to your own inner child.
Oh, she did. She has a puppy. By the way, Rhonda, full-grown adult, has a puppy. And we've talked about our puppy quite a bit in the last few days.
Yay.
So get a puppy.
Do something. Do something. Great
Anyway.
conversation, Courtney.
Yes. Thank you guys. And just you have the choice to get enchanted with what you want or obsess over what you don't like about your life. That's your choice.
Yes.
Yep. Whatever that means to you.
Yes.
Do something with it, please.
Make it so. And if this is your hurdle, hashtag hump over your hurdle.
Yes. Yes. So you got this.
Have a great day, everybody. And we'll be back on
Friday.
Yay. And if you want to listen to our archived past episodes, subscribe to our podcast. They can visit
forceforgrowth.com. Yes, where we will at forceforgrowth.com you have links to all of the platforms we're available on, but we are on Apple, we're on YouTube, we're on Audible, you name it, we're on all the fun ones. So find us and leave us a comment. And I don't know, we need to think of another contest I'm spinning because I've thrown out a few comments of that. So I need to pick something from my bookshelf to give away. But yeah, just leave us a comment on if you're on multiple platforms, let us know. But if you'd be kind enough to subscribe or listen in on a different method than you normally do, that is extremely helpful to our growth. But either way, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, we'll see y'all on Friday.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.